hobbies include wine tasting, anything technology related, and riding the world's scariest roller coasters, which is the subject of this morning's speech.
Miss Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. For those of you who have been in this club for a while, you know that there are two things that I really enjoy. One is wine tasting, and the other is riding the world's scariest roller coasters. It's even been suggested that I give a speech about wine tasting while riding roller coasters. I think so. Now, let me get right to the point. How many of you love riding scary roller coasters? Yes. Now, how many of you would not get on one if I paid you to get on one? Okay, a few of you. All right, let me say this. If you have a pathological fear, you should not get on until you've been treated for it. But if you just have a normal fear of dying, that's okay. You're eligible. You can get on. It's great. Now, let me take you back in time. When I was growing up, I was discouraged from riding roller coasters because my dad thought they were dangerous. But what do we do when we leave home? Anybody? Yeah, we tend to explore other activities. And I started riding roller coasters. Now, let me explain. There are two basic types of roller coasters. There are the traditional wooden roller coasters, and there are the metal roller coasters. With wooden roller coasters, it is a classic thrill, but you better have a good back and neck because there is intense vibration and you're slammed against the seats. But it is absolutely fantastic. The metal roller coasters introduced new technology invented in Mountain View, and you could do loop-the-loops, you could go at very high speed, you could do barrel roll. It was exciting. Now, I'm going to share with you this morning some of my experiences in riding roller coasters. And by the way, Roger, if George Washington had been born a little later, he would have loved roller coasters. I remember a very memorable ride that we had at Six Flags Over Texas in Arlington, Texas. About 1992, they built what was at the time the world's biggest wooden roller coaster called the Texas Giant. I had to get on it. Yes. I looked up. Oh my gosh, that is big. Yes. Got aboard. Clankety, 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 clankety. It seemed an eternity as we got near the top. And at the very top of the hill, there were two flags, the U.S. flag and the Texas flag. And there was a crossbar and there was a placard where there was a picture of the cartoon character Willie E. Coyote. And there was the caption, "Can we talk about this?" Well, a little too late then. By the way, I enjoy sitting in the rear car rather than the front car because it's an entirely different experience and it's much more intense in the rear car. So, as we approach the peak, it slowly goes over, the front of the train starts to accelerate first. If you're in the back, you don't have a chance to contemplate your fate. You're sucked over the edge. Yes, drop very, very fast. Great vibration, intense turns. Oh my gosh, this is tremendous. And finally got to the end of the ride. Now, was it terrifying? Yes. But then you sigh a breath of relief. And it constitutes intense relaxation. Hence, terrifying relaxation. Gotta ride it again. Yes. Well, let me move on to the next roller coaster experience. There was another roller coaster which is really something in San Antonio called Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. It's called the Rattler, and of course, named after a rattlesnake. Now, I must say that I rode it during the first 6 months, and many times since. But because of an attorney in Houston who wanted to seek redress for a lot of injured clients on that, it's been re-engineered and dumbed down 3 times. A lot of people were injured during that first 6 months, including me, and I walked around the park with a severely strained back, and I was trying to limber myself up so I could have another ride. I did have another ride, but it wasn't as fun when you ride it in. Oh, but let me tell you about the ride. Unbelievable. Gigantic, intense drop. But then, when you get to the bottom, you go into a big, high-speed, 270-degree turn. And the tracks, at least with the original design, as the train passed, there were shock absorbers, and the whole track would move out 6 feet as the train passed. And then started going up again, and you got into the coil of the rattlesnake. And it looked pretty innocuous to begin with. You go around, but you gather speed, but then the vibration would really, really get intense. And you wondered if you could hold on when you got to the end of the rattle. And then there was some additional intense portions of the ride. Absolutely fantastic. Not as good today, but still very, very good. I might say in Texas, if there is a thunderstorm within 50 miles, they shut down the roller coaster because it's quite dangerous if you get struck by lightning. I had waited on this ride for almost 2 hours, and I saw the thunder, and I thought, oh boy, I got here just in time. Boarded the train before we left the station. Closed due to lightning, you'll have to get off. After 2 hours. Oh. Now let's go back to California. There are some great roller coasters here. Over in Santa Cruz, the Giant Dipper, built in 1922, is still a great ride. But the best wooden roller coaster in California, in my opinion, is in Knott's Berry Farm, called Ghost Rider, built about 1998 or so. It's gigantic, and it's in the shape of an L. Very intense ride. From the time you are at the top of the initial hill until you start slowing into the station is 2 minutes and 10 seconds, which is really something. Very, very intense. Absolutely wonderful. But now, let me go on to some of these metal roller coasters. A classic right out here at Great America is Top Gun. That is a wonderful metal roller coaster with some nice scenery too. Absolutely wonderful. But the best metal roller coaster in Northern California, in my opinion, is up in Vallejo. It's called Medusa. And Medusa is a metal roller coaster that is gigantic. It has all sorts of loop-the-loops. You want to ride it again and again and again. Really, really something. When I go to Southern California, I like to go to Six Flags Magic Mountain because they have some wonderful coasters there. More than 15 years ago, they built a gigantic coaster called the Viper. And that has an intense drop, and you go into a turn right in the middle of the drop. And there are a lot of loop-the-loops. That really set the ground for technology for some time to come. It was great. Then, maybe 12 years ago, they opened another roller coaster there called Extreme. And that was really something. Now, the lines were so intense at that time that in the summertime, there was a sign at the line, 4.5 hours from this point. And guess what? Entrepreneurship, they had a Coke machine when you're halfway through the line. You would pay anything in that heat in Valencia to be able to get a cold drink. But that introduced a new technology. Because in addition to the loop-the-loops, there was another axis to the right, and your cars would spin randomly forward and backward as you were going over the curves. fantastic. I understand it's been redesigned now, and so it's a different ride today. But I know that the original manufacturer of the ride from Europe had gone out of business, so they had to do their own maintenance on it for a while. There is another ride there with a Japanese theme. I can't remember the name of the ride, but you start at the top of the hill and you're going through the forest, and it's really, really something. Roller coasters are a wonderful experience, and it's a great opportunity when you're in line to start networking with the people in line. You can relate to that, can't you, Jeff? Of course, and Roger can too. No one likes to wait in line. You can pay extra for a priority line at many parks, so that is an option. I do urge you to observe safety regulations. Veteran riders want to go like this, you know, when they go over the hill. I don't recommend it. Follow the safety regulations. It really is important. Then you'll survive to the end of the ride. So, in conclusion, let me say, I hope each and every one of you will experience the terrifying relaxation of riding some of the country's best roller coasters. Miss Toastmaster.